It's Friday. It's 7 p.m. It's Talk Radio Europe. I'm Dom Aldworth, and this is the Friday Night Sports Bar.
And the game is over now, obviously, mate. Oh, County Champions and the Division Everton. What a victory. Oh, my God, they'll be a big night in the lane. I think I feel like getting sick.
Lo scambia ancora con Alberto, l'ultimo ce l'ha, rigore, Mirko, tira, go!
Oh, no! Oh, my gosh, no! Come on, no! Oh, gosh! God bless those kids. I'm sick. I want to throw up.
Well, welcome to another edition of the Friday Night Sports Bar with me, Dom Aldworth. Stuart Joseph and Richard Tilsley in the studio with me this evening. Coming up over the next hour, it's the business end of Europe's premier club rugby competition, the Heineken Cup, as the last 8 do battle in the quarterfinals. MotoGP fans, the wait is over. Jorge Lorenzo goes quickest under lights in first free practice of the opening race of the 2013 season in Qatar. And Malaga have it all to play for after holding German champions Borussia Dortmund in the first leg of their quarterfinal. Gentlemen, welcome to the show this evening.
Good evening, Dominic.
Hi, Dom.
How are you guys doing, all right?
Good.
Yeah? Oh, what a great... I just love that intro. It really gets me rocking ahead of the weekend. Although I don't go to all those kind of Stone Roses bars. I used to all those years ago. Mind you still do a little bit of that, don't you? Because you went to one last week and got plastered and...
Huh? Well, I'm still young at heart, you see, Dom.
Yeah, of course you are.
Whereas you're an old fogey, really.
I bet your heart isn't young after that Spurs performance last couple of days, or last night, wasn't it? Yeah.
I've just been arguing with Richard. We both see different games. I thought Spurs played for 25 minutes of the game really, really well. And the good news is...
I'm sure your hair has gone even greyer.
Hang on, the good news is after that...
It's not possible for it to go any greyer.
It has. There was a few flecks of black. They've disappeared now.
I can still see one.
Excuse me, Gareth Bale is only out for about a fortnight, thank God. So we're very happy tonight as Spurs fans.
Hee-haw, okay. Well, listen...
Now, Dominic, now the thing is, okay, we talk about footballers and other sorts of sportsmen, but punditry is obviously a very important part of sports. And there is one man who's been making quite an impression in the world of punditry. You know who I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
Well, he is, of course, Roy Keane, okay, who is being talked about as the #1 pundit at the moment.
I like a bit of Roy on the TV, actually. I like him.
But it has not gone unnoticed that his style of punditry and perhaps
involves the odd swear word here and there.
Previous comments and quotations he's made is not too dissimilar from the infamous Tony Soprano, who was, of course, the head of the notorious Crime Family program.
Yeah.
So I have some quotes here, and I want you to tell me whether or not they can be attributed to either Tony Soprano or Roy Keane.
Oh, I thought you were going to have maybe a couple of Coronation Street quotes in there.
Well, I know that is your second favourite programme after Match of the Day, but, you know...
Huh? What's wrong with that? You like a little bit of that?
You're so sad, Dominic.
What's wrong? Stu watches Coronation Street.
I suppose you watch the EastEnders show.
Absolutely.
Well, tonight's great. Like Monday night, you've got a little bit of Emmerdale, then you've got an episode of Corrie, and then you've got EastEnders, and it's finished off with a bit of Corrie. Of course, we missed the earlier ones, but...
That sounds like TV hell to me.
You used to go out with a Coronation Street actress.
Yeah, but...
Yeah?
Yeah, I did.
What was her name?
Louise Harrison.
And who was she in the soap?
She played a character called Dawn Prescott. And there used to be a character called Alan Bradley, who was... he had a security shop, from what I remember, going back into the 80s now. And she was his assistant. And then she worked for some other bloke in the show who had an estate agent, you know.
And this isn't actually in the show, obviously, for the listeners out there. This is away from the show.
No, that was her part in the show.
No, she didn't date you in the show. You weren't in. He wasn't in Coronation.
No, I wasn't in Coronation Street.
Did you used to? How long did you date her for?
Oh, we lived together for about 4 years or so.
And was she in Corrie for that whole 4-year period?
No, then about the last 18 months, 2 years, and then she went to the Bill.
And so, did you used to watch Coronation Street while she was in while you were together?
I had to. If she was on, she'd tell me that she was on that particular episode, and so I had to sit through it.
So you used to watch Coronation Street. So you're a hypocrite.
Yeah, but under duress. I mean, I couldn't not.
And when she was in The Bill, did you used to watch The Bill?
Not really. No.
Did she used to come home in uniform?
Did
you like it when she used to come home in uniform?
She did keep the uniform at home.
She didn't.
She did, yeah.
She did.
Yeah,
I bet you used to love that.
It was, yeah, and the handcuffs.
Anyway, well, let's. Well, this is. I'm getting very hot under the collar here.
Fortunately,
Actually,
she left the truncheon behind.
Oh, hang on, we've got a caller here. Actually, who wants to either slag us off for what we're talking about. But anyway, we're going to bring you in. Good evening. You're live on Talk Radio Europe.
Is it a sports programme or a bloody soap meeting?
A little bit of both this evening. Good evening. How can we help you? Oh, he's got. we got the fans there, champion.
Okay,
let's get back to what we were going to do anyway.
Right. Okay. These are various quotations. You've got to tell me whether or not they can be attributed to Roy Keane or Tony Soprano.
Okay. Let's go.
There were no tears, none. It was done.
Well, I'm going to have to go with. I'm going to have to go with Mr. Soprano there for sure.
Definitely.
Next one. Why don't you get the French Connection UK out of here
Roy Keane.
Before I shove your quotation book? Okay.
Roy Keane.
Number 3. I was young, and when you were young, you smell blood.
Roy Keane.
No, I think it's the other way.
Okay. Next
be
one.
either way, that
Question
one.
4.
Soprano, I think.
Okay. You want to know what I'm thinking? Seriously? Roy Keane or Tony Soprano?
Roy Keane, I'd say.
I'm going to go with Soprano.
Okay. Question 5. We're in a situation where everyone involved knows the stakes, and if you're going to accept those stakes, you've got to do certain things.
Roy Keane.
Question 6. Do we search our souls? The truthful answer is no. Roy Keane or
Roy Keane.
Soprano? I had no remorse. My attitude was French Connection UK him. What goes around comes around.
Soprano.
Yeah, I'll go with that one.
Okay. Quotation 8. Those who want respect, give respect.
Roy Keane.
Quotation 9. I think about my father. He never reached the heights like me, but he had it better. He had his people. They had their standards and pride. Today, what have we got?
Soprano.
Yeah, I'm going to go along with that one.
Last one. They were the only ones smelling blood. In terms of dominating, I was definitely losing it.
Roy Keane. Definitely Roy Keane.
You reckon?
Yeah, definitely.
I'll tell you how well you've done at the end of the show.
Okay.
gentlemen.
Well, we're going to leave the football to the end of the show, actually. We've got plenty to get through. We've got Johnny Martin coming on as well to tell us about a big Steve Staunton golf charity event taking place in Bailey a couple of weeks' time. But a big weekend of rugby, Rich. Heineken Cup quarter-finals. 3 English clubs, 3 French clubs, 2 Irish clubs left in the draw. Should we just quickly go through?
Well, you could say 3.5 English clubs.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the quality of England. We were having a bit of a
Okay, I mean, if you look at the Toulon
Toulon
side, I think there's 6 English players in the team.
Well, I've got the team lineups here.
And what astounded me about it was that Simon Shaw, at the age of 40, is still playing rugby and at a very, very high level and still putting in great performances week in, week out. I mean, at the age of 40, that is... And he's been offered another year's contract for next year as well, which is...
Well, let's talk about it. I mean, Toulon in the group stages, when we were talking about it, were one of my favourites to win the tournament. I felt it was either going to come from Clermont or Toulon, you know, knowing what that Toulon lineup was. And, you know, let's just go through. The Toulon are taking on Leicester, first leg in France as well. They haven't lost to a South Coast rival. They lost to South Coast rivals, Perpignan in Barcelona recently. But their form guide in the top 14, they are the leaders there. They've got 3 victories in their last 4. Players to watch out for. You've got the likes of, obviously, Johnny Wilkinson taking on Toby Flood. I don't know, a bit of a mismatch for me. I think Wilkinson will certainly marshal that. But I think most importantly is exactly what you were talking about, is the sort of quality they got in their squad there, Rich. Dylan Armitage at fullback at number 15. I mean, this guy has already played rugby for England, a fantastic player. The yardage that he covers from deep as well is superb. For me, a much better player than Alex Good is at fullback at the moment for England. Matthew Bastareaud in the centre there. We know the quality of him and the size of this guy.
He's French, though.
Matt Giteau, yeah, but we're talking about Toulon.
Yeah.
Matt Giteau, the Australian 92 test caps for the Wallabies, Matt Ghetto, in slotting in there at number 12. Johnny Wilkinson at 10. And then look at your forwards. There's Stefan Armitage, used to play for London Irish, sits in there at number 7. Juan Fernandez Lobe, the captain of Argentina, one of the real outstanding loose forwards in world rugby. Bucky's Buerta, remember, the enforcer, alongside Victor Matfield, the World Cup winner in 2007. I think him and Victor Matfield in the lock forward pairing for the Springboks, 60 or 70 occasions they played together. Joe Funny Kirk sitting on the bench there. Cole Heyman, a World Cup, not a World Cup winner for New Zealand, but many, many caps for New Zealand. Sebastian Bruno as the hooker there. And Andrew Sheridan, one of the most powerful scrummagers on the planet, not playing for his country, but obviously living a pretty good lifestyle down in southern France there. That is one hell of a team.
It is, Dominic. And, you know, if they do beat Leicester, then I think the one thing it will emphasise is how ridiculous the selection policy is by many, many international countries at the moment, where they refuse to pick players who are not playing in their domestic league. And, you know, you only have to look at the English performance against Wales at Cardiff a couple of weeks ago, and you'd have had to have said that, you know, had they picked Andrew Sheridan, they'd have had a much firmer scrummaging platform and probably have given away considerably less penalties. And also, he would have given them so much more dynamism in the loose as well. And, you know, to me, he is being talked about as a potential Lions pick. And I can understand why, because, you know, he is a supreme rugby player and very, very strong and powerful. I mean, he has the ability to be an international weightlifter.
Well, I mean, he's taking on tomorrow Dan Cole, Tom Youngs, and Marcos Ayerza from Argentina. You know, that's a pretty decent front row as well. But Leicester Tigers coming off a fantastic victory over Northampton in the Aviva Premiership last weekend. So a festival of rugby there. I saw that game. Brilliant stuff there from the Leicester Tigers. But I just feel that Toulon, looking at those names and looking top of the French top 14, they're going to have a little bit too much, I think, for Leicester at home, certainly.
Well, you'd have to say so, but, you know, there's certainly, I mean, there's some very, very talented players in the Leicester team, and, you know, I think that when you look at the performance of Tom Croft since he's come back, and every week he just seems to be getting better and better. And
he had a marvellous game against Northampton.
Really good. He was very good the week before as well when I saw him play. It wasn't Northampton, I can't remember now. And you have to say that I think he's very close to approaching the form he showed not only on the Lions tour, you know, 4 years ago, but also towards the end of last season, where I thought he was one of the standout players in the English pack. Well,
he's making a statement at exactly the right time as well, with the loss of form of Rob Shaw and some of the Harlequins players that were touted to, you know, perhaps for the loose forward positions for the Lions tour. He's making a statement at exactly the right time, isn't he?
He is, and, you know, it's very unfortunate for Chris Robshaw. I mean, you know, he was being lauded by every rugby pundit, you know, around the world a few weeks ago, and then suddenly it all seems to have gone badly wrong for him. And not only with England losing that last game against Wales, but also Harlequins having lost their last 3 games. And, you know, his performance, I think, has been a little bit subdued. And, you know, I did hear that, you know, it's already been suggested to him that, you know, he's not going to make the Lions. So, hence the reason for his slightly down demeanour of late. But to me, I don't think that Gatland would reveal his hand at this stage, to be honest.
Toulon to win the first encounter between those two this weekend?
Well, I think you've got to put them favourites, Dominic, and, you know, they really are. I mean, they have is it Mohamed Mahoudi El Shawari, is it? I mean, they're Algerian owner.
Yeah, absolutely. Plenty of money, huh?
Very wealthy. Yeah. I mean, he's
plenty of money.
He's a local boy and made a lot of money, I think, in comic books.
I'm not too sure about his history, but I can tell you right now what they have done. John Smith is, I believe, heading down from Saracens to Toulon at the end of the season. Brian Abana is the big name signing from the Stormers from South Africa. Brian Abana, only 29 years old, still one of the greatest wingers in the world. That's one of their big expenses. They're still trying to lure Dan Carter away from New Zealand as well, from the Crusaders, which I'm sure they've got the money to do so.
But you know, the other thing is that is quite amazing about Toulon is the adulation that is shown towards Johnny Wilkinson.
Massive.
It is. I mean, it almost borders on sort of Justin Bieber level of fervour, because, I mean, I was reading that every time he even takes a kick, the crowd, okay, roar this Johnny, okay, and and they just get whipped up into this frenzy. And in France, he's advertising everything from butter to cars over there.
And there were reports today as well. It looks like he might very well sign an extension for a further year to continue as a player. But I think his life is pretty settled down in the south of France. Who wouldn't be living down that part of the world? So it looks like they've secured his services for another year. The two other English clubs, Rich, are in action against Irish teams. We'll begin with Harlequins, the defending Aviva Premiership champions, against Munster. Quins have reached the last 8 on 3 occasions, but they've never gone further. We know what Munster have been like in the past. They dominated between sort of 2003, 4 and 5. Munster have got a fantastic record in the Heineken Cup, make no mistake about it. But to watch the form, very crucially, and I'm sure Warren Gatlin will be watching this tomorrow as well, is the form of Chris Robshaw, but also the return of Paul O'Connell, who wasn't playing available for the Six Nations due to injury. But Paul O'Connell, who's a Lions and before the Six Nations, before his injury, was also looked at as a possible captain of the Lions. This is a big occasion for Paul O'Connell over the next 4 to 6 weeks if he can stay away from injury.
Well, he is a really massive and integral component of that Irish pack, and without him, you only had to see what happened to Ireland in the Six Nations. Along with some of the other injuries that they had, but again, he is a fantastic player. He's a real enforcer, and I think that, in some ways it might be a little too late, Dominic. Because I think what Gatlin wants to see is consistent form. And whether there are enough games left in the season for him to show that, I'm not too sure. But certainly, if he is fit and he is playing, 100%, then, you've got to say, there are not many locks in Northern Europe. Not many better locks in Northern Europe.
Munster 06
but I think that it will mean, we've talked about Jim Hamilton of Scotland.
Sure, absolutely.
And I think that if he does go with the Paul O'Connell, one of the casualty will be Jim Hamilton.
Which will be, that'll be a bit of a travesty. Jim Hamilton was man of the match on 2 of the Six Nations games.
Quite similar. They're quite similar players. They're both, sort of line-out enforcers, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. But I just think Jim Hamilton on form is going to offer an awful lot more. And Paul O'Connell is very much a risk, although he'll probably feature in the midweek team.
Yeah.
But Munster's, we've got a caller on the line. Let's bring this caller in. And good evening, you're live on Talk Radio Europe.
Hello, it's Stephen. Is Stuart there?
Yes, he is. Yeah. He's just cooking dinner.
Tell him not to worry about the Spurs, because we're going to win on Sunday and we're going to beat Basel 2-1 on Thursday.
I love your optimism, Steve. Very good. I agree with you.
No, shall I tell you why? People
is this Psychic Steve, then, is it, from the medium hotline?
Right. Bow. Yes, he is brilliant. But you know what I think he is? He's a crutch.
Stephen, it's Dom. Listen, I'm going to have to come in here, and please don't think I'm being rude, but we're in the middle of a rugby discussion.
Okay.
Football is in the second half of the show. Please stay tuned. Give us a ring back and give us all your thoughts on Spurs in the second half of the show if you can.
Okay.
Cheers, Stephen.
Bye.
So we were going back to Munster winners of the Heineken Cup in 06 and 08. But both of these sides, their recent form in their domestic leagues have suffered somewhat. Quins have gone from first to third in the last 4 weeks in the Premier League. And Munster have won only 2 of their last 5 games in the Rabo Direct Pro 12. So you've got 2 sides who are really going against each other. Certainly Munster with a great history, but really struggling for form at the moment, Rich.
Yeah, I think that Quins will edge it, though. I think they'll just have a little too much, and I think that that Robshaw will get hold of the team, and instill upon them the importance of this match and the fact that they still have plenty to play for, and to put the disappointment of what happened in the Six Nations behind them. And I think that really is what has affected the Harlequins team.
Saracens versus Ulster. Ulster last year's runners-up. Ulster full of some World Cup winners and South African players, performing very, very well at the moment. Ulster in the Rabo Pro 12 Direct. Saracens top of the Premier League at the moment in a great run of form. Some quality players there.
Playing so well, Saracens.
Fantastic, yeah. Playing some top rugby, aren't they?
On that, to be honest.
You've got.
But they're all fantastic matches. I mean, I mean, how do you pick which one to watch? I mean, it's just impossible, isn't
Tough one, isn't it? 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Great opportunity for a lot of these English-based players, and certainly to stick some of the Ulster players to stick their hand up for a Lions position. Alex Good, Chris Ashton, Bradley Barrett looking to find some form again. He's been a little bit lackluster and one-dimensional for me, but
I think Chris Ashton's Lions tour is over. I don't think he's going to.
Yeah, well, we had a discussion about this. I think there's other quality wingers out there that really edge it far ahead on discipline, skill, pace, absolutely everything, all-round game ahead of Chris Ashton. I think
his reading of the game seems so completely off at the moment, Dominic.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's still relying on the past glories of that fantastic try 2 years ago against Australia, isn't he?
Well, he did have some fantastic seasons for England, there's no doubt about it. And, you know, I think he was the top try scorer last year, wasn't he? In the Six Nations?
Yeah, I think before that, yeah.
So, I mean, you know, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he is a very classy player, but I think that he has just lost form of recent.
Owen Farrell played in the centre for the Saracens on the weekend in the Premiership. He'll be playing at number 10 this weekend. He'll be up against young Paddy Jackson, the young Irish fly-off that came in the absence of Johnny Sexton or Paddy Jackson. But let's not forget that Ulster have Ruan Pienaar there at number 9. I mean, this guy's quality. He's been absolutely everything that has been good about Ulster in the last couple of seasons since he moved from South Africa. Ruan Pienaar, he is their kicker at goal. He pulls the strings and will relieve a lot of pressure on Paddy Jackson.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Paddy Jackson, before the Six Nations, people were saying that, you know, Declan Kidney should go with him rather than sort of go back to the guy whose name I'm temporarily forgotten. What's his name? After Sexton was injured, he's been there for years.
Ronan
O'Gara, and you know, and then he had a couple of really bad games where, you know, his kicking, I think, to a certain extent, cost Ireland the game, Dominic.
Sure, coming on there, yeah.
But, you know, the thing is, as you said, I mean, with Pienaar, you know, sort of taking that responsibility away from him, you know, and I suppose the thing about Jackson's game that's, you know, is vaunted is his running game. And, you know, so I think that they will test the backs of Sarries, and they'll get a lot of ball. And I think it could be a quite open game.
The last of the quarterfinals for me has got plenty of quality in it. Clermont Auvergne versus Montpellier have done particularly well. Just looking at some of these names in the Clermont starting 15.
I think Montpellier were the last team to beat Toulon, weren't they?
Yeah, they were indeed, absolutely. Yeah, albeit it was at home. Lee Byrne at full-back, their number 15, almost the forgotten man of Welsh football. Again, going back to that policy, but then Lee Halfpenny certainly deserves his position in the Welsh back line there in number 15. Sivivatu from New Zealand, tremendous player. Wesley Fofana, we saw his quality in the Six Nations.
Dwayne Peel at Montpellier as well?
Dwayne Peel, certainly he's not in the starting list and he's not in the bench. But you've got Morgan Parra there at number 9, very similar sort of player to Ruan Pienaar. Julian Bonner, plenty of quality there. Francis Chunduk at number 10 for Montpellier, but for me, I can only see one winner in that, and that is Clermont.
Well, I mean, I think it's going to be a close game, Dominic, I really do. And, you know, Montpellier are a very, very good team as well. And, you know, it's at this stage of the Heineken Cup, you know, these games can go either way. It's so easily, you know. Well, these teams are very closely matched by this stage of the competition.
We're just keeping an eye on the time there, Rich. We've got a few more minutes. There's something I wanted to debate with you. We're going to move on from rugby, but Heineken Cup quarterfinals, first legs begin this weekend. MotoGP fans, the wait is over. The season 2013 MotoGP season begins this weekend in Qatar. And I can tell you right now, Jorge Lorenzo, the double world champion and defending champion on his Yamaha, went quickest under lights in first free practice this morning. Lorenzo came in. Surprisingly, Carl Crutchlow, who did very well in Jerez recently in pre-season testing, came home second quickest. Valentino Rossi, great to see him back on a Yamaha on a competitive bike, coming in third quickest. Marc Marquez, he's the new boy on a Honda, 2012 Moto2 world champion, sitting in place of Casey Stoner, the double world champion who's retired. Not great news there for Danny Pedrosa, the 3 times runner-up, coming in at 8th quickest, but it's only because of an accident. I'm sure we'll see Danny right up there in qualifying and certainly right at the top of the grid. But that begins this weekend. MotoGP fans, it's been a long wait. I know that. It's certainly going to be a 4-horse race for me. Pedrosa, Lorenzo, Marquez and Rossi, those are going to be your teams. And maybe Crutchlow can certainly pull something out on the odd race or two. But Rich, we're just going to quickly talk about cricket just for the next couple of minutes, because I know you and I, well certainly you picked up on an article during the course of the week. Alex Stewart's World Test 11. I don't know. I'm not particularly happy about one choice in that. But I just wanted to have a bit of a debate with you about this on air because we had a bit of an exchange some words during the course of the week. And I don't know, you probably don't have your notes in front there, but your opening batsmen were Alistair Cook and Pujara from India, which for me, absolutely, they seemed the right choice. Coming in at number 3 was Hashim Amla for sure.
Yeah.
Kumar Sangakkara, wicket-keeper batsman from Sri Lanka, scoring heavily for many, many years, coming in at 4. Jacques Kallis at 5. Michael Clarke at 6. Matt Pryor at 7. Big question mark about that. Ashwin, the Indian spinner, coming in at 8. Vernon Philander, Dal Steyn and Morne Morkel, the three-prong pace attack from South Africa, making up the last 3 there. Your 12th man, Harat from Sri Lanka, the spinner. But Matt Pryor, let's just talk about that decision to leave out AB de Villiers.
There's also, I think there's a few notable admissions there from the England team, or the England and Welsh team, we should say, Dominic. It's not just the England.
And who would they be?
Sorry? Well, I think you've got to look at James Anderson, and
but you've got to look at where he is in the Test rankings at the moment as well.
Well, the thing is about James Anderson is that he is able to take wickets on a huge variety of different surfaces, and I don't think he was necessarily at his best in New Zealand over the last series. But I mean, look how
he was very good in India, though, wasn't he?
He was fantastic in India.
On wickets that don't suit fast bowling at all.
And you compare his record in India to some of the South Africans, and it is far superior.
But then you look at the South Africans' record this summer as well.
I think he's got Ashwin. Is it Ashwin? Who's Harat? Sorry, as his
12th man.
As his 12th man, as the other spinner. But I think you've got to look at Graham Swan as well.
Oh, well, I tell you what, there's one big person missing from Pakistan for me, and that's Saeed Akmal. Saeed Akmal for me is certainly more than edges it against Harat. Saeed Akmal has been in unbelievable form for the last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I'm a great fan of his. I mean, because the variation in his deliveries is just absolutely phenomenal. And very, very tricky bowler, and again a bowler who can adapt both to the the 5-day format and the.
But how can you leave AB de Villiers, wicket-keeper batsman? I mean, AB de Villiers joined top of the batting rankings in the Test, in the ODI rankings, second in the third, beg your pardon, in the Test rankings. The guy is absolute quality.
Well,
how on earth could you pick Matt Pryor ahead of him?
Fantastic batsman, Dominic. I agree with you. I wouldn't dispute that for a moment, and also a fantastic fielder. Almost to the standard of another previous Safa, Jonty Rhodes. But, you only have to look at his performances behind the stumps. And though they have been improving, he gives away an awful lot of byes.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been watching a lot of cricket this summer, certainly South Africa series against Pakistan and in Australia, and I did not see that.
And the other thing is that, he has improved of late, but certainly, I mean, he put down a lot of chances when he was first behind the stumps.
Kumar Sangakkara, who's already chosen that team at number 4, who is the wicket-keeper, fantastic wicket-keeper for Sri Lanka. Give him the gloves. AB de Villiers slots in the batting order. Get rid of Pryor.
Well, the thing is, I'm a great fan of Pryor because I think also what he offers, he's got...
You had to have an Englishman in the team, though, didn't you?
No, we got Alistair Cook.
Yeah, but you had to have another one to make it more of a world team.
I think that he offers so much. He offers grit and determination. It's the Dunkirk spirit you get from somebody like Pryor.
We have to go to a commercial break, but as I finish off, this World 11 side was actually named by a former England wicketkeeper, Alex Stewart. That is solely the reason why Matt Pryor was included, wasn't it?
Well, but the thing is, Dominic, this is somebody who understands wicket-keeping, and so when he decided not to include AB de Villiers, it was for a very, very good reason, which is his keeping wasn't up to...
Well, neither was Alex Stewart's. He was an opening batsman.
Alex Stewart's keeping improved dramatically towards the end of his time.
I
agree with you at the beginning, he was a bit suspect, but he got better and better.
Rich, thanks for that discussion on the rugby and the cricket. We must go to a commercial break. Johnny Martin coming in the other side of this, and Stuart Joseph as well.
Passes it to Tomato dribbles it past Mozzarella and loses it to Beefy. Beefy runs with it, goes on the counter-attack of Beefy, and Beefy scores and the crowd goes wild!
It's the Friday Sports Bar on Talk Radio Europe with Dom Aldworth.
Well, welcome back to the Friday Night Sports Bar. Joining me on the line now from the UK is Johnny Martin. Johnny represents the Stephen Staunton Foundation. He's putting on a very big event, him and his wife, towards the end of this month to raise cancer for children. It's a golfing event, including a fantastic dinner, and Johnny's here to tell us about it. Johnny, good evening and welcome to the show.
Hi, Dom, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, Johnny. Just tell the listeners out there the date is coming up very soon. It's a day of golf. There's some big names coming, followed by a dinner and an auction as well at the fantastic Villa Tiberia. Tell us all about it.
Yes, that's right. Obviously, as you said, it's the Steve Staunton Foundation Celebrity Golf Classic, which came about. The boys had actually been giving children with cancer some support over the last 2 years with auction prizes and memorabilia. And then a lady called Alison approached last year to see if there was any chance some of the boys could get involved and perhaps help stage a golf day. Hence the Steve Staunton Classic was born. Steve Staunton will be joined on the day by a number of ex-Aston Villa players who form part of the Lions and Legends Association, which is another association that we get involved with to help promote welfare for former players and also to then encourage them to give their time to local charities. And as you said, there's a number of big names joining us. Hopefully the type of people that will be there on the day are European Cup winners Ken McNaught, Gordon Cowans, Peter Wiv, Gary Shaw. With them will be John Gidman, the ex-Man U and Aston Villa star. Niall Quinn has said that he will be joining us. Ron Atkinson, Robbie Fowler and Steve McNanaman has said that they will be with us. Graham Sharp, Frank Stapleton, Larry Lloyd and many others. Golf on the Sunday the 26th of May.
Which course are you playing there, Johnny?
We're playing the Marbella Club Golf Resort, who've done us a fabulous deal to encourage us to be there and enable us to make the contribution that we want to children with cancer. Registration there is from 8:45 in the morning with a shotgun start at 10:30. And you can either have your own 4-ball or a 4-ball to include one of the celebrities that I just mentioned to you there.
And so basically anybody here on the Costa del Sol can put together a team of how many people, Johnny?
Well, it's whether they want a 4-ball. The cost for the day, which will include the golf, which is obviously golf at Marbella Club Resort, a buggy, a picnic, and then on to dinner for the presentation at Villa Tiberia with a 4-course meal provided by Sandro and his team for us. Fabulous entertainment. I think you all know down there Trey Devo. They'll be joining us for the evening along with some other well-known performers from both the UK and down on the Costa del Sol. Within that price of €780 for the team, Sandros is also going to throw in the wine. So very, very good value for money. People can attend the dinner only, which is at a cost of €95 per person. And as I said, many celebs wandering around and joining in the fun with us.
And all these guys that might have been Aston Villa fans, they want to go up and talk to their childhood heroes or what, they can go up and have a chat with these guys, share a glass of wine with them and enjoy their company and their stories.
Yes, absolutely. And as you know, Dom, with your background and having spoken to these people regularly, they're great fun to be around. And unlike the modern footballer that has obviously moved up a level into the sort of film star bracket, these guys are very, very accessible and are able to make more time for the people that go and watch them or used to go and watch them week in, week out. Coincidentally, the 26th of May is also the day that the Aston Villa boys won the European Cup against Bayern Munich in 1982. So there's a double reason for celebration on the evening.
Nice special occasion for them. Johnny, now if there are any listeners out there, some of them might be in their car, they can't write down any details, but let's mention them anyway. If they want to buy tickets for this particular event and get involved or get a team together, how can they do this?
Well, they can contact Sandro at Villa Tiberia, and Sandro can point them in the right direction, particularly if it's dinner-only places that people are after. And as I'm sure many of your listeners know, the wonderful surroundings there are down at Villa Tiberia. Alternatively, there is a telephone number and an email address over here in the UK, which, if I may, I'll read out to you.
Absolutely, please do so, Johnny.
0044 121 353, 1292, and the email address is Zoe, Z-O-E, .Martin, M-A-R-T-I-N, the number 1, so Zoe.Martin1 at btinternet.com.
Okay, brilliant stuff. And if anybody missed any of that, you can always get in touch with Talk Radio Europe as well. And
that would be wonderful if you'd allow that to...
Absolutely. Mention that you guys, listeners out there, you've heard it on Talk Radio Europe on the Sports Bar. The team will email me and I can put you directly in contact with Johnny, or dial 0044 121 353 6292, or you can email Johnny and Zoe in the UK on zoe.martin1 at btinternet.com. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the event a little bit closer, perhaps on Monday and Friday next week, Johnny. But for now, thank you very much indeed. We look forward to chatting to you a little bit closer to the event as well.
It's the Friday Sports Bar with Dom Ordworth on Talk Radio Europe.
Well, thanks very much there from Johnny. So we'll let you know more about the golf events on Monday and next Friday as well. If you've got any questions, just email the studio or give those details that we gave you out. Give them a ring or an email. Guys, football, what fantastic results. Should we begin with Europa League or Champions League?
It's got to be Europa, isn't it?
Europa
Champions League, our local team.
Well, I mean, Spurs. I mean, what happens?
Yeah, but we've got far more Malaga fans, Tom.
We do indeed. Let's talk about Malaga's performance. Actually, let's do that. Sorry, you'll have to keep waiting there with bated breath. What do you guys make of that performance? Borussia Dortmund really not what you expect from them in front of goal. They just simply they had no clinic. They're normally so much more clinical in front of goal than they were. I mean, 3 or 4 really good chances there, but Malaga held on. They've now given themselves a really good chance, haven't they?
Well, you can't imagine that the Dortmund strikers will have another shocking game next week.
They were really bad, really poor. They had chances. I mean, the first half they could have tied it up in the first 15, 20 minutes. But give Malaga credit, they came right back in the game.
Yeah, but I mean, if you put that performance and what they missed into the second leg, I mean, they're going to have more than Willy Caballero pulling off some pretty good saves if they're going to go through. Surely they're going to need a bit more, Malaga.
Yeah, but second legs, this is the first leg, Malaga. Obviously, Malaga wanted to try and dictate. They couldn't initially, but they had a nice little spell before half-time and just after. And the second leg's going to be a different game entirely. I mean,
but you say they had a nice spell.
They've lost to Tura and Wellington.
Sorry?
They've lost to Tura and Wellington.
Yes, they've got to fetch a couple of players in, and they haven't got the depth in the squad.
No.
But, Camacho, I think, is going to come in from one of them. But no, that's a problem.
I mean, you say they had a good spell at one stage. I mean, how many shots did that bring on target? 1.
No, look, we watched it together and we saw that up front, unfortunately, they're poor. They haven't got the finishing. I thought Isco had a very disappointing game, considering he's been rated so highly. And these are the games when he should shine if he's potentially worth the money.
Well, he didn't have a bad game, but he didn't certainly have a £30 million game.
He didn't set it alight. But then it's the players around you, and he's playing against a very good team. And I think they go there with a chance, 0-0, get an early goal. Who knows?
They've given themselves a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they have given themselves a chance. But the Malaga team is incredible. I mean, it's almost a team of complete where are they nows, isn't it?
It's incredible.
Oh,
you're absolutely right, especially up front, as we were talking also.
Well, I mean, right the way through. I mean, even Tulan Lan. I mean, he was a much vaunted player about 4 or 5 years ago.
I thought he had quite a good game the other night.
He was fantastic. I thought he was really good. And even Saviola, I mean, it's like often people, what happened to him? Oh, he ended up at Malaga. But I thought he's put in some good performances for Malaga when I've seen them recently.
They have got a superb manager, tactically, awareness. What he's done with this group of players is fantastic.
And he's been to the Champions League semi-finals before with Villarreal, hasn't he? In 2007, I think it was.
And Madrid, he's been with far better players than what he's got, but he's taken the players, he's played to a system, and I'm screaming for Malaga next week. Honestly, I hope
it's amazing that Real Madrid didn't persevere with him, because I think they fired him, didn't they? After 4
but he had success. It wasn't that he was a failure. I mean, listen, Real Madrid get rid of players just. Managers.
Yeah, but the success of Real Madrid is if you win the treble. If you don't, you get sacked.
He didn't win the league. I don't think he won anything.
No, I don't think he did, but he didn't do bad with the team. He never did bad with the team. I think he was just replaced as a matter of fact. I don't think there's any more than that.
But you can understand why Man City are after him.
Yes.
Well, I suppose you can understand why anybody's after him at the end of this season, really. He certainly has... his stock goes back with every performance like that, doesn't it? Goes up, beg your pardon.
The thing is, if you a few years ago, I think it was Liverpool who were really interested in bringing him over. But instead he was seduced by the whole project at Malaga and instead went to Malaga.
You know what's very upsetting? After all this wonderful effort that Malaga have put in, if the manager leaves and Isco gets sold and the Sheikh just retires from having anything to do with Malaga, it's going to be terrible for the town, for the city, for the Costa del Sol.
Yeah, and the thing is, maybe the Ayuntamiento will look at the situation and realise that they are the only people to blame for this situation.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
And yet again, we have
very third world decisions that have been going on.
Yet another example, of this country which we all live in and which we love, shooting shooting itself in the foot, and that has happened over
Over and over again, yeah.
Real Madrid certainly put their tights a bit off. Galatasaray certainly a bit disappointing if you look at the likes of Drogba and Schneider being added to their squad. 3-0 by Real Madrid. Ronaldo, Benzema, Higuain on the score sheet. I think that one's almost but over, isn't it, really?
Well, that last goal by Higuain in the 73rd minute, I think, has killed off the game entirely. In fact, it was funny, at half-time they took Schneider off and replaced him with another midfielder, so they obviously thought they were going to go down with more goals than 2. But no, I can't see Real Madrid going there and giving away a 3-goal lead.
No, I think that's game over, Dom. Game over. Mourinho's far too savvy to throw away a 3-goal lead in Istanbul.
Bayern Munich and Juventus was one of the ties of the round, wasn't it, really? And, top of the German league against top of the Italian league, both. I mean, in fact, Bayern Munich can sew up their league this weekend. Juventus are very close to doing that in Serie A, but a very indifferent performance by Juventus. Or was it a more commanding performance by Bayern Munich? I didn't actually see the game itself.
Personally, from what I saw of the game, it was a little bit disappointing. I mean, Bayern totally dominated. Juventus offered nothing up front whatsoever. I mean, they defend well, obviously, like all Italian clubs. Bayern were well worth their 2 goals. They should have won by 2, 3, 4, 5 goals, but I think even going to Juventus, I can't see the Juventus getting nothing out of this. Bayern are a very strong team, looked a very strong team.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see the game. I was going to watch a recording of it, and then I read various reports that said how dire it was. So I thought, oh no,
it was disappointing.
I've got better things to do for an hour and a half.
It was disappointing.
But one of the games, that we, I suppose to a certain extent, wrote off last week. Well, certainly I did. Was the Paris Saint-Germain?
You did. You did. You wrote PSG. Hang on, you wrote PSG. He wrote PSG off.
I did write
you wrote them
off, and I thought, well, that Barcelona would have been licking their lips when the draw was made and saying that they'd got PSG. But I thought PSG played really, really well, and I can understand why United was so keen on Lucas Moura.
He had a good game?
What, didn't you think so?
I saw bits and pieces of the game.
I mean, I think a really...
Lucas Moura's quality, yeah.
Quality player. Quality player.
And what about David Beckham? They said he had a very good game.
He had a great game.
He had an excellent game for the 70 minutes.
Yeah. 38-year-old. I mean, it's just incredible, isn't he? 38-year-old.
Well, I mean, listen, Ancelotti's come out. I mean, apparently he's copped a lot of stick in France, actually, and well, in various other medias around the world. But Ancelotti came out fighting his corner today, as he did at AC Milan as well when he had him on loan. And he said, "Well, I actually thought Beckham had an exceptionally good game. He did exactly what was expected of him in the team talk."
I haven't read any.
And I'll start with him again against Barcelona come the second leg.
Dom, I haven't read any report that said he had a bad game.
No. There's a problem with the with the system there. Yeah.
But the British press didn't play it up like that at all. The press just don't seem to say a lot about David Beckham at the moment. I think he deserved a lot more.
I thought he distributed the ball very well and very quickly as well, which is exactly
some of the passes he made were absolutely
fantastic.
Yet another assist with a header and delivering a perfect ball into the box, wasn't it?
But this is another. It brings up another subject that we have talked about before, which is the importance of Messi, and very much like Spurs with Bale. Without him, Barcelona look a very vulnerable team, don't they? They just don't possess that same threat going forward.
The same as Bale, so important to Spurs and Ronaldo to Real Madrid.
I don't know whether he is still going to be injured for that game next week.
No, I think he may be fit. He's going to miss the league game this weekend, but he should be fit for the return.
Well, I think if he's not fit, that game could go either way. It could be wide open. I think if he's fit, I think Barcelona will walk it.
Yes.
We've got a caller on the line, gentlemen. I'm going to bring you in. Good evening. You're live on Talk Radio Europe.
Good evening. Steve here.
How are you doing, Steve?
I wasn't going to ring up, but then when you talked about David Beckham, I had to phone up. I watched the analysis on CNN where they had Ruud Gullit and a couple of other famous footballers analyse his play, and they feel he's past it. So do I.
Well, he was a bit slow, I'll give you that. But some of his passing, Steve, some of the passes he made were fantastic.
But if you want to go on stats, his percentage play fell in the second half compared to the first half.
That's interesting.
He probably tired.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but at the moment now they're asking why is he playing for PSG, and they put it down to the fact that he puts thumbs on seats. But
not in this. Sorry, Steve, not in this case. The manager doesn't plan to put.
Well, his manager came out today and said he would pick him absolutely to start in the next game if he's fit.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just telling you what Ruud Gullit, the Ballon d'Or winner, said, and I can understand the hype about the guy because he puts thumbs on seats, but I think he's past it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's any question, guys, that, you know, there is an ulterior motive for PSG for signing him. He does sell shirts, he does put bums on seats, and he does make revenue.
Yeah, but Dominic, with respect,
in his defence, he is still a decent player.
They wouldn't have played him. The manager would not have played him this week. Just, you know, they've got the bums on seats now, sold the shirts and everything. He was on there to do a job. He had an easy role in midfield. He wasn't committed to do anything other than pass the ball
He did
around,
flag in the second half, though.
Which is why he was substituted in the
70 minutes. So.
Well, I'm going to leave it like that because the show's closing, but I just thought I'd throw my 2 pence in and listen to your comments. But if you're a footballer, you've got to realise that he is getting past his best now.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right, cheers, mate. Thanks for that, Steve. We did have another caller trying to ring up as well. Sorry, I was trying to bring you in as well, but you're most welcome to give us a ring back if you're still tuned in. Europa League, guys. Let's have a look at what happened in the Mickey Mouse League. As we
it's not Mickey Mouse, not at this stage. At this stage, everybody wants to win it. Spurs were. Listen, I'm not going to talk about it, but Spurs drew 2-2. They were 2 down. They came back to 2-2. Gareth Bale was the problem at the end of the game, but hopefully he's going to be back in a couple of weeks. Lazio went down 2-0 to Fenerbahce in Turkey, and the returns played against with closed doors because of the problems they've had with their crowd trouble. So I can't see Lazio coming back from that. Chelsea and Kazan. Chelsea won 3-1. We were saying before, Richard, you know, they've got a difficult game down there, but you think they get a goal when they travel?
Yeah, I mean they're full of goals. Chelsea, that's one that you'd have to say.
If they get a goal, then
Fernando Torres seems to be finding the back of the neck with some regularity in the Europa League, isn't he?
Torres is still a great player. Just needs a bit of confidence.
Well, we've got another caller. We're going to bring you in. Just give us a second there. We've got you. Seems to be a problem with this evening. Keep going on, Stu, with what...
the other game was Benfica in Newcastle. Newcastle went up after 12 minutes through Sissi, but unfortunately Benfica came back strong in the second half and beat them 3-1. I think Newcastle got a hard game back at St James's Park in the return, but... you know, all to play for, all 4 games.
We've got the caller now. Good evening, you're live on Talk Radio Europe.
Good evening, it's a woman.
Oh, goodness me. You're not phoning up about the Formula 1 and to have a go at Richard, are you?
No, I'm not phoning up about Aintree either, because that's where I come from. It's Carol from the Costa Blanca.
Hi, Carol.
And I support Liverpool.
Okay.
And what I have to say is Stanley Matthews was still playing football at 42.
You're quite right, Carol.
True.
Absolutely.
Teddy Sheringham.
And Bill Shankly was still playing football at 38.
There you go.
You're as good as your years, that's what they say.
And David Beckham is doing all right. He's not as quick as he was, but don't knock the older footballers.
Can I just tell you, my brother's 55 and he's still playing Sunday League football.
Well, that's great, isn't it?
There you go.
I mean, OK, he's only in the Sunday League, but he's not high profile, is he?
He's not high profile, but he still enjoys it just as much as years ago.
That's exactly right.
And he's very
if you
good.
enjoy the game, that's what you do. And all the stuff they say about David Beckham, about him being... you know, a womanizer. It's nonsense. It's all rubbish.
It is rubbish, you know, Carol.
And you know, the man is a great ambassador, like Shankly.
Yeah.
He's a great ambassador for the game of football.
Absolutely, Carol. And there's only one womanizer, and that's the one that's in the studio, and that's Richard Tilsley. David Beckham, I couldn't agree more.
Carol, as a Liverpool fan, I've got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Are Liverpool going to make that the 5th spot by the end of the season?
They are. They're going to do better than that.
They're going to make 4th?
Yeah.
Carol, listen, thanks.
You watch them, because they have their lulls, but they get up again, don't they?
Carol, I'm going to have to cut you short.
Okay,
We've got a minute
darling.
before the news.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for your call. Thanks for tuning in. And I know there's another caller trying to ring in. Sorry we don't have time for that. Stu, take us for the last minute to the end of the show as to what's happening. Sorry to that caller that's trying to ring. We just don't have time to take your call. What's happening in the league?
They've got big games the weekend. West Brom and Arsenal. Arsenal need to get their points to stay in the run for the to get into the qualifying for the Championship. Stoke and Aston Villa, a must-win game for both teams. Norwich and Swansea, not a lot to play for. Reading and Southampton, both teams need to win. QPR and Wigan. If QPR don't get 3 points against Wigan this weekend, they're definitely down. Chelsea and Sunderland, well, that's going to be very interesting. New Sunderland manager, what's going to happen there? Newcastle and Fulham, Newcastle need points. And Liverpool and West Ham, if Liverpool want to chase success, they've got to win this match against West Ham.
Yeah.
And the other thing is Spurs and Everton should be a cracking game on Sunday.
God, what do you reckon? Andy Carroll to score a winner against Liverpool?
Well, he can't play, Dom.
Of course he can't.
Yeah.
He can't be... Well, absolutely, yeah, well done. Yeah, you can't play against Liverpool.
But, I mean, there's lots of interesting matchups. Also, there's Adkins is with Pochettino. I mean, are they going to shake hands? You know, because obviously Pochettino replaced him. And also, Tony Pulis is under severe pressure. And he desperately needs a win, as do Aston Villa. And, I mean, if you were a betting man, you'd have to say, to score the first goal, Villa versus Stoke, Robert Huth at 20-1. What a bet that is.
Sounds a good price.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
You got 3. You got 4 right.
Damn, we've got to go now. Thanks for your call. Sorry we couldn't take all of them. Have a great sporting weekend. See you on Monday.
Is Talk Radio Europe on the hour. Live international news from Sky.